Hello everyone, my name is Sun, and today I'm going to have an analysis on the movie called Clueless, which is an adaptation of one of Jane Austen's novels, Emma. Here's my thesis statement. Through comparing the context of the adaptation with the hypotext, Clueless served as a transformative adaptation to Emma, highlighting the similarities and differences of the social, cultural meaning and narrative between different timelines and locations. According to Italo Calvino, a text is defined as classic when it possesses the ability to exert influence and cultural relevance universally and timelessly, and is treasured by those who have read it as well as those who will be reading for the first time. Why have I chosen Emma as a classic text? Why is Emma a classic text? Although it has been more than 200 years since it was published, it is still relevant in terms of socio-cultural context, such as about class or feminism. The setting may differ as the world evolved, but we can still see through the similarities in human behavior between the Regency era and the modern times. Going back to one of Calvino's definition of the term classic, the novel is treasured by both readers and non-readers, since those who have read the novel will immediately recognize the original text from the adaptation. The movie can be watched without having to read the novel. However, even if the novel is read after watching the movie, it is still recognizable that it is the original text. Another important term that is relevant to this analysis is context. According to Brian Moon, context refers to the multitude of factors which shape the meaning of the text within social framework of its reading, which relies on the history of the text as well as dominant contemporary beliefs and practices. It is important to note that novel takes place nearly 200 years before the adaptation and thus have to rely on recorded histories of the ideologies and circumstances of the individuals living in that era instead of first-hand experiences from them. Moreover, context is always shifting as the time goes since it depends on the competing beliefs and practices in the present. Jane Austen wrote the novel in 1815, where she featured a strong female protagonist, Emma Woodhouse, a wealthy, beautiful, intelligent young lady in her early 20s. She is an influential character who likes to be in control of other people's lives and relationships, such as Harriet Smith, a 17-year-old girl whom she befriended. Emma has a choice to refuse marriage for other reasons other than love, and in the end, she ended up getting married to Mr. Knightley, her longtime friend, who helped her reflect and improve on herself. Another important aspect to highlight in this novel is that Emma is treated as an equal by Knightley, and she is free to speak her mind critically with him. This is not always common in the Regency era England, since marriages do not always involve love and equality, and women were considered as properties to their husbands. A text is considered an adaptation when it is created based on an original hypotext. An adaptation may aim for fidelity or diverge from the hypotext while keeping some context and elements from it. Clueless is a romantic comedy directed by Amy Heckerling, released in 1996, which is loosely based on Emma. Cher Horowitz, like Emma, is wealthy and beautiful. However, her age in the adaptation is changed to 16 from early 20s in the original text. She befriended Ty, who is a new girl from her school, aiming to give her a makeover and find her a boyfriend, just like how Emma likes to take control on Harriet's love life. Cher, too, is oblivious at first about the consequences of her actions, but she later reflects herself, which leads to improving herself as a character in the end. The movie ends with Cher realizing her feelings for Josh, and eventually they became couples, but do not end in marriage like Emma and Knightley, since Cher is only a teenager, although it is hinted it is a possible path for the couples in the future when they grow up. The meaning and narrative of class in Regency-era England is transformed into a modern American meaning of class. Class refers to socio-economic position which depends on economic factors, while rank means differences within a social class, depending on individual lineage. For example, in Clueless, there are different high school cliques which represent a class, and within a particular clique, there are more popular individuals according to the rank. However, Cher's rank and popularity is not as stable as Emma's. This is apparent when Cher made Thai more popular, and suddenly people from school started paying more attention to Thai and ignore Cher. This will never happen with Emma since her rank is stable and she will always be ranked higher than Harriet, no matter what. Although it may appear the class system disappeared in modern time, the adaptation shows how it has translated into a high school hierarchy in Beverly Hills in the 1990s. Thus, this serves as one example of how the adaptation transforms the meaning and narrative of the original text in terms of class and rank, and how the original context is interpreted depending on dominant beliefs and practices in the contemporary times. Now I'll move on to see the similarities and differences in feminism and patriarchal ideology in Emma and Clueless. In Regency era, when Austen published a novel, she was progressive in terms of portraying female characteristics. Emma speaks her mind freely regardless of the limitations of patriarchal expectations. Back in the Regency era, women did not have agency and freedom on marriage and were not treated like equals with their husbands. But Emma is treated as an equal by Knightley. Nevertheless, Austen still did not go very far from the boundaries of patriarchal ideology. Emma can be compared to a character like Darcy from another Austen's novel, Pride and Prejudice, where they both are wealthy and influential characters, but Darcy has more freedom to travel in his own will, unlike Emma, who is still restricted in her community to roam around. Moreover, Darcy has responsibilities as a landlord and has his title as a gentleman in the public sphere, but Emma is restricted to the private sphere only. Overall, although there are still restrictions, Austen managed to push against a patriarchal limitation set upon women through her literature, which serves as a stepping stone towards first-wave feminism. Now, Clueless was released between the second wave and third wave feminism, where the second wave feminism focuses on equality and the third wave focuses on several other factors, including sex positivity. Ideally, women now have a choice in marriage and are treated as equal with their husbands. They were no longer considered as husbands' properties, like in the Regency era. Also, generally, they have freedom to travel as they wish, although in Clueless, Cher asks someone to accompany her when she goes out and gets rides from other people after party. But I will argue that this is because Cher failed to obtain driving license and she wasn't fit to drive after she had a party. Moreover, Cher's father encouraged her to do well in her studies and even introduced her to his business at a young age, which highlights that women are now encouraged to gain positions in the public sphere. So to wrap up, Emma from the Hypotext may seem unrealistic to the actual female population around Regency era, but the adaptation serves as an evolution and transformation of the novel with different socio-cultural concepts in the modern times in terms of women's rights. Thank you for listening to my analysis on how Clueless, the adaptation of the classic text Emma, have transformed the meaning and narrative of the original text and the importance of context in the production and reception of the adaptation. Here are my references.